Good evening, everyone. Gabby, can you make your announcement?
Yes, thank you. Hello, everyone. This is the interpreter speaking. This is Gabriela. We have language access today, so I'm going to switch to Spanish to give instructions how to join the Spanish channel. Muy buenas tardes, mucho gusto. Soy Gabriela, la intérprete de español. Si usted le gustaría escuchar esta presentación en español, tenemos acceso el día de hoy y le voy a explicar cómo hacerlo. Si usted está usando una computadora, por favor vaya a la parte inferior de su pantalla. Allí va a haber un globo del mundo. Dele clic a ese globo que dice interpretación y escoja Spanish o español. Si usted está usando un teléfono, por favor toque la pantalla de su teléfono. Presione los 3 puntos que están en la parte derecha e inferior de su pantalla. Escoja interpretación de idiomas o language interpretation. Escoja español o Spanish. Y el último paso es muy importante. Por favor, escoja finalizar o done, D-O-N-E. Una vez que usted esté allí, regresa a la pantalla principal. Thank you. Gracias. I'm done.
Thank you, Gabby. I'd like to start the meeting a little bit differently. Actually, I'd like to ask the teacher reps and the staff how they're doing since they're having to be in the building. So just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that and ask how they're doing.
Thank you. Say, yeah, thank you. Go ahead, Evan.
So I will say that it's been a very interesting start to the year. On that note, you know, it's been, I will commend Lori and her administration for having plans and systems and structures in place that make a lot of the moving parts of teaching in person in a pandemic with full classrooms fairly seamless. So like we commended Ms. Amy at the last meeting, I do want to continue and commend her again and her admin team for continuing to make it as easy as possible in a very challenging moment.
Evan said everything I wanted to say. Truly, it's been interesting. It's working, which I'm happy for. So I agree with everything Evan said.
Okay. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Evan.
I'm not back in the building, obviously, so I can't speak to that. But I do have a lot of anxiety about going back in because I've heard that it's been a very interesting and different year. I'm in constant communication with the lovely lady covering my class, so I do hear, you know, stuff that's going on. So, but I've heard that Lori has been doing a great job with having systems in place and the best we can with what we have.
Thank you, Jerry. And how's Finley doing?
She's doing well now that she finally got some medicine for her acid reflux. So we're on the upswing. We're getting better.
Good.
So.
That's good to hear.
Thank you. Thank you for asking, and thank you for asking the teachers and the support staff, because I think that they need that check-in. I think a lot of teachers do.
Yeah, you're welcome. So now I'm going to ask that members of the LSC please take a moment to update your name and Zoom and your role in the community. And I want to say welcome to the Peirce LSC meeting. The members of the LSC are the elected representatives of our school. The LSC is responsible for setting the school's direction and policies and for monitoring its financial and educational programs. All participants are muted, and we'll invite you to unmute during public participation. We have 2 opportunities for public participation. Each opportunity will be 10 minutes. Every participant may comment for up to 2 minutes per opportunity. The chat will be enabled during public participation. We ask that you save your questions for the public participation portion of the meeting, at which time we will ask you to type stack in the chat so that we can invite you to speak in the order indicated. This meeting is being live streamed to YouTube. For those not wishing to pre-register, watching via YouTube and are watching via YouTube, you may email your comments to peircelsc@gmail.com. Should there be any disruptions during the course of this meeting, the meeting manager, Mr. Lee, will use Zoom to mute and turn off the cameras of all participants while the disruptive attendee is removed. If we are unable to remove a disruptive participant, we will close the meeting and a new meeting link will be emailed out to attendees. If you do not receive a new link within 5 minutes, please email peircelsc@gmail.com where a new link will be shared with you. At the conclusion of the meeting, Mrs. Amy will receive the video recording of the meeting, which will be posted to the LSC Google Drive on the Peirce website. While the chat is not an official part of the meeting, it is a necessary community building tool for Peirce folks to connect with each other. Chat is the way for attendees to see each other virtually and participate together as the audience. We rely on attendees subscribing to the IB profile in their interactions, especially being inquirers, knowledgeable, principled, open-minded, caring, balanced, reflective. These are the norms for using the chat. I am now calling the meeting to order. LSC members, please announce your name for roll call purposes.
Jermaine Mabry, parent rep.
Evan Tread, teacher rep.
Jerry Baumgarten, teacher rep.
Sandra Kafarkas, non-teaching rep.
Claire Gervasi, parent rep.
Bill Kennedy, parent rep.
Aisha Noble, parent.
Lori
Javier-
Zamy, principal.
Javier Seawright, parent rep.
Matthew Kwame, parent rep.
Elisa Vortic, community rep.
Okay, I believe that's everybody. Is there a motion to approve the order of the agenda? Or is there any discussion on the agenda?
A motion to approve.
I second.
All those in favor? All those abstaining? Not voting? Motion passes. The first item on the agenda is public participation. Can we please turn on the chat, and anyone who would like to comment, will you please type chat in, type stack in the chat. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone type stack. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next item on the agenda, which is new business. The first sub item is discussion vote on approval of building lease agreement. Principal Zamy, will you speak to this one?
Yes, we have 3 building lease requests. One of them is for Saturday, October 16th from Orange Shoe Fitness to use the turf for a group class. And then funds that are generated from that would go back to the school. It's a fundraiser through Friends of Peirce along with Orange Shoe. So there needs to be the fundraising approval, which is next on the agenda, and the leasing agreement. The second one is for Friends of Peirce and PSO, a subcommittee of Friends of Peirce, to use the turf on October 23rd for a fall festival. And then the third one is for Gus Giordano to use the turf on October 30th for their Halloween dance performance. Even if the LSC approves all 3 of these events to take place, we still need approval from real estate. So approval at the LSC meeting does not guarantee approval of all 3 events.
Sorry, Principal Zamy, just for clarification, we need to approve leasing agreements for these 3 items. And then we will also, under the next agenda item, be approving the fundraising proposals.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Lori, when you say real estate, you mean an office in CPS Central, right?
That's correct. So I will make a motion to approve all 3 of the events as I just described.
Is there any discussion on this item of the agenda?
So Ms. Samia, as part of these agreements, each organization will have to, like a Giordano and Orange Shoe will have to provide some proof of liability coverage, and that goes, sir.
That's correct.
That's for that real estate approval.
Correct.
Okay. And income from that you plan to use towards?
So the fundraising is the next agenda item. This is just on.
The building lease.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. So I was wondering what the proceeds from the building lease is, where that would be applied.
So I guess this is where there's some duplication, because the fundraising is what talks about where the money would go. But I can just share that what we've identified is that funds raised would go towards the purchase of athletic shirts as a subsidy for students that are unable to purchase the sports shirts for the winter and spring seasons.
Any further discussion on the leasing agreements?
This is a quick question. In general, how long does it take for I think you call them real estate to approve these?
It depends on if all of the paperwork is correct or if anything needs to be sent back. Sometimes there's issues with the insurance. Sometimes it can be approved within a couple of days. Some days it could be similar to what we experienced with the vendor approval, and we may not get it approved before these events actually take place.
Okay. Fingers crossed.
Any further discussion? If not, is there a second for the motion?
I will second.
All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstaining? Not voting? Motion passes unanimously. The next item on the agenda is discussion, vote on approval of fundraisers. I've prepared the briefest of reports, just explaining the why we need to approve this at an LSC meeting, and I've gone ahead and shared it as a PDF on the Google Drive folder for this meeting. I'm just going to read the relevant portions. This report relies on the local school council resource guide published by the Office of LSC Relations under Part 1 on roles and responsibilities under the section of powers and duties of traditional school councils under budget and fundraising responsibilities. On page 9, the resource guide states that the LSC must pre-approve all fundraising activities to be conducted by non-school organizations in or with the school. And then under Part 4 on budgeting to support school progress, under the section of the LSC's responsibility to monitor the budget, and under fundraisers on page 149, the resource guide states that the LSC must also approve fundraisers by non-school groups. Non-school groups must submit a CPS fundraising accounting proposal form After the fundraiser, the non-school group is required to submit a local school fundraising accounting report in order to account for how much was raised. Guidelines for fundraising are included in the resources section. All funds raised on behalf of students or the school by registered external organizations or school parent organizations must be turned over to the school at the conclusion of the fundraising activity and deposited into school internal accounts. And in the resources section under fundraising guidelines, there are 6 categories of different fundraising activities. I won't go through all of them, but the one which seems to apply is category 4, fundraising conducted exclusively by the registered external not-for-profit organization that benefits the school or its own organization. And this category allows for fundraising that is not for the school, but requires a disclaimer in advertisements that the funds are not for the direct benefit of the school, but still requires approval by the principal and the LSC if the fundraiser is using school property. In the report that I've placed in the Google Drive folder, there are screenshots, and I've gone ahead and added a copy of the LSC resource guide for anybody who wants to review that document themselves. That having been said, we are considering 2 different, let me call them up. 2 different local school fundraising accounting proposals submitted by the Friends of Peirce. The first one, let me call it the first one. The first one is for October 16th, and it is an organization of outdoor workout with instructions from Orange Shoe Fitness. It's going to be cardio based as well as have other fitness activities. And according to the local fundraising accounting proposal, 100% of the profit will be going to the school, and funds are to be used to purchase t-shirts for winter and spring athletics participants who cannot purchase the shirt, as Principal Zamy stated. The second proposal is for a Fall Fest to be held on October 23rd. And the description of proposed fundraising activities: there will be activities and games that are not fundraising but a part of this event. For fundraising, we'll be selling taffy apples and pumpkins, arranging them on the turf as if it were a pumpkin patch. And for this event, 100% of the profit is also going to the school and will be used for the t-shirts for winter and spring athletics participants. Is there any discussion on these fundraising proposals?
Did you only describe 2 of the 3? Or did you say all 3? I'm sorry, I'm taking notes too.
There's only 2 fundraisers.
Okay, the Gus Giordano, sorry, gotcha. That was the least from the other thing. Okay, never mind.
Any other discussion on on the fundraising proposals?
I just have a quick question from Ms. Amy. So on the one that talks about, sorry, I'm looking at it, the fundraising, and it says the funds would be used to purchase t-shirts for winter. It says proposed distribution. So can that be changed, or will last minute, or is this like a done deal? So the funds are definitely going to be used for that purpose because it just says proposed.
I want to look at the exact section that you're looking at to make sure I answer correctly.
So on the the local school fundraising accounting proposal, description of proposed fundraising activity. And then at the bottom, it says per principal, funds to be used to purchase t-shirts for winter and spring athletics. You cannot purchase t-shirts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's where we would allocate the funds. And so then once those funds are received, they would go into the internal accounts under that budget line.
Okay.
And then if for some reason we end up not using those funds, then a budget transfer request can be made to the LSC to change where those funds are rerouted to.
So for clarification, my understanding is that we are essentially approving the fundraiser and also allocating those funds as if it were like a normal budget request, right? That's how I'm thinking of it.
That's correct.
Any further discussion on this, on these proposals? Seeing none. Should I propose a motion, or is there a motion? Would someone like to propose a motion?
So moved. Or I propose move on the approval of the 2 fundraising accounting proposals.
Is there a second?
I second.
All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstaining? All those not voting? Motion passes unanimously. Before moving on to the next item on the agenda, I wanted to thank Chad Curry and the FOP for working so hard at bringing these proposals in such a short time frame so that we could vote on them and have these 2 events for the Peirce community. And also thank Principal Zamy for working hard so that we'd be able to accomplish this. The next item on the agenda is public participation. Looks like chat is open. Anyone who would like to participate in public participation, please type in stack in chat, please. Okay, unless there's something wrong with my chat, I'm not seeing anybody stacking. And I have also just checked the Peirce LSC Gmail account, and there are no comments asking to be read. In that case, quickly before anyone changes their mind, the last item on the agenda is a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Not voting? All right, motion passes. 25-minute LSC meeting.
24.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye.